Hey, and welcome back to the channel. I am Sherman Rivers. This video, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about something that's very important to me. It's the reality of responsibility. The reality of responsibility. I use the word reality because I don't think most people have a clear view of what responsibility really means. And if they had a better idea of it, they'd make a lot of different decisions in their life. Responsibility really refers to one or two things. One is a duty, and the other is control. What do we mean by a duty? Say, for instance, there's a child that requires food, shelter, clothing, education, training, mentorship, requires a parent. But it's not your kid, it's not your child. The child belongs to someone else, and they have a duty to raise that child. And then imagine somebody telling you that you're responsible for the upbringing of this child. Well, how can that be if I owe no duty to that child? This is a random child. Granted, it's a child, children have needs, but it's a random child that I don't owe a duty to. I can't be responsible for that child. The child is not my responsibility, at least in a personal sense. I understand it from a societal standpoint, maybe different ways of looking at it, but from a personal sense, child's not my responsibility. I have no duty. The other one is control. Same scenario. Someone tells you you're responsible for that child, yet you can't tell the child when to go in the house, where not to go, who not to associate with, what not to do. You have zero control. Doesn't take long to figure out that since you have no control, you can't be responsible for that child. Okay, now he's gone about his business. We talked about duty, we talked about control. This is part of the lie that men have been told, starting from when they're little bitty boys all the way up to manhood. They get fed some things, and I guess the intent was correct. I guess society's in some weird way was trying to bestow them with the traits necessary to become a good man. But the problem is a lot of that's been perverted. And the result is a lot of men who don't understand responsibility. They understand it in part, but they don't have a complete understanding of what responsibility really means, the reality of responsibility. Men have been programmed throughout their lives to accept responsibility for things that they owe no duty to, under the guise that that's being a man. Just be a man about it. Be a real man. Be responsible for things that you have no duty to. And on top of that, men have been taught for most of their lives to accept responsibility for things that they can't control. If you don't have any control of something, you can't be responsible for it. Again, under the guise of being a real man. A real man would do this. A real man would do that. But you got to take a step back and ask yourself, is this something that I have control over? Or is somebody else in control? And if somebody else is in control, am I really responsible for that? So, I have two rules as part of that tenet of responsibility. Two rules that help clarify this, make it easier to understand, make it easier to quickly assess the situation and know how to respond to that situation in a responsible way. Rule number one, don't ask someone to do something for you that you can and should do for yourself. If it's your responsibility, you take responsibility for it. And you do that thing that you can and you should do for yourself. Now, if you can't do it, then you're going to need to ask for some help, right? And then there's the question of whether or not you should do it. That's where things like delegation and stuff like that comes in. Just because you can do a thing doesn't necessarily mean that you should do a thing. Might not be the best use of your time. For instance, cutting the grass. Now, aside from people who just enjoy cutting the grass, taking that time out to manicure their lawn, stuff like that, but just the basic premise of cutting the grass. Now, if somebody offered to cut your grass for $10, and in that same time period, you could earn $20, should you cut your grass? Or maybe employ a little arbitrage, let someone else do it for $10 while you make 20, pay them 10, keep the other 10. Comes down to how valuable your time is. That's an example of whether you should do something or not. So never ask somebody else to do something for you that you can and should do for yourself. Rule number 2, don't do something for someone else that they can and should do for themselves. I'll say it again. Don't do something for someone that they can and should do for themselves. It's not your responsibility. If they can do it, let them do it. If they should do it, let them do it. If they can't do it, then you can assist, but don't do it for them. The best bet in that situation is probably to enable them or help them get to a situation where they can. I.e., say it's a knowledge situation, they don't know something. Teach them how to do it, and then let them do it for themselves. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. So don't do something for somebody that they can and should do for themselves. So again, ask yourself this question. Whenever you're faced with a question of responsibility, do you have a duty? Is there a duty to perform? And do you have control? Can you control it? If you don't have a duty and you have no control, then you have no responsibility. On the other hand, if there is a duty and you do have control, then it is your responsibility and you need to get it done. So that's the reality of responsibility. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I am Sherman Rivers. Thanks for stopping by, and in any case, do something today to make yourself better. Now, the day goes by that I don't do something to be better. Because if I know anything, I know this. When we become better people, our world becomes a better place. Our world becomes a better place. When you become a better person, your world will become a better place. Peace.